Today in your ELA notebook, we are going to talk about comparing and contrasting. All right, we're going to compare and contrast. That's when we take two things, sometimes more, and we talk about how they're alike and different. In fact, that's what compare means. When we compare, we are going to discuss how they are alike. And when I say they, it could be, we could compare characters, stories, we could compare two different articles, two different board games like we're doing this week. Discuss how they are alike. Contrast is when we discuss how they are different. So if you go to tell me how something is alike and you leave out how they're different, you did not compare and contrast, you just compared. And if you just tell me how they're different and you never tell me how they're alike, all you did was give me the contrast. We have to do both to properly compare and contrast. When we're asked to compare and contrast two things, we need to organize everything we know about those things. And we do that in what's called a Venn diagram. A Venn diagram, you may remember, is two circles, but they overlap. Now, for our notes today, we're going to make it pretty simple. We're going to compare dogs and we're going to compare cats. All right? Now, right here where they overlap, this is where we're going to list all the things that they have in common. This is where the compare goes, where they are alike. Okay, so I'm going to draw an arrow from where they are alike to the center. This is where we put the things they both are. They are both house pets. They both, what? They can both be friendly, I guess. They both need to see a vet. You may come up with some more. But that's the things they have in common. Now over here, we'll list the things that are only have to do with dogs. Cats do not have them. A loud bark. Cats don't have that. Enjoys bones. Dogs, they chew up stuff. Dogs, I don't know, you could probably come up with more. You can tell I'm not a big animal person, but cats, they purr. Dogs don't. That's only cats. And cats are quiet for the most part. Cats, what is something cats do? They like yarn. Dogs don't really want to play with yarn too much. And so we organize it this way because it'll help us write how they are alike and how they are different. Some other things that will help you write about how things are alike and different is when you go to talk about it in your writing, there are certain words that we should hear and use when we are doing this. So you could do that at the bottom of your notebook. I'm going to slide mine up now at this point. You can go back and see any that you weren't able to finish. But there are certain words we use when we're comparing and when we're contrasting. So I'm going to give you a minute to get that ready and organized. And I think you should be just about ready to make those words. All right. So when we compare and contrast, there are certain words that just make sense. So I am going to, down here, we're going to do I'm going to split this into two sections. And I'm going to make this compare. And I'm going to make this contrast. All right, and these are words that we use when we're comparing and contrasting. And I'm going to show you how we do that in just a minute. So I'm going to write here with compare, since it'll match that color. We're going to say things like, this is what they have in common. You might hear someone or read that. You might say, dogs make good house pets as well as cats. So you might use as well as. You might say, dogs and cats are similar in this way. So you might say that. That's a good word to use, similar. You might say, both dogs and cats are friendly. They are the same in that way. So you might use the word same when you're comparing. You might also use a simple word like too. Like cats like to go for walks too. In other words, just like dogs. You might also use the word both. Both can be friendly and good house pets, or they also, or just the simple word alike. These are terms you might use in your writing when you're comparing. Now, when we're contrasting, we're not going to use words like these. We might say they are different because, we might use the word different, or we might use this, believe it or not. Listen, the word while. While dogs have a loud bark, cats simply purr. Did you hear me use while? The word although. Although cats like yarn, they are different from dogs. You know, you may use this although. You may use but. In other words, dogs like bones, but cats prefer treats. This one I use a lot. However, cats can be friendly. However, dogs are friendlier. You might say that. Or you could just use the word unlike. They're unlike. Or instead. These are words we might use in our writing, because you are going to have to compare and contrast things often this year. So this will be nice to have in your notes to pull out when it's time to compare and contrast, especially this week as we compare and contrast from our Scholastic articles.